Why is it so hard? Some people get it every night and it's perfect, and others get it very few nights. I'm talking about sleep. It seems like it should be as easy as eating a meal or going for a walk. You just put your shoes on, go out the door, you take your walk, you open the fridge, you make a meal, you eat it, and when it's time to go to bed, you brush your teeth, put your pajamas on, climb into bed, and you go to sleep. But it's not that way. Why can some people just shut their minds off and not have a care in the world, and other people continue to just go over every little thing that happened that day or every little thing that might happen the next day? I changed insurance companies when I retired because my husband put me on his insurance, which meant I had to change doctors. My dentist recommended my doctor because of teeth clenching, and I have a night guard. I should have brought it with me. I have a night guard that I wear on the bottom, and I have a retainer that I wear on the top. Now the night guard is about this thick. It's very thick, almost to the point where I feel like, you can see it, that my lips are kind of pooched out. It took a couple of nights and I got used to it. I feel like it's comfortable. It's almost like a pacifier. If I lay down and I've forgotten it, I'm right back up to get those on my teeth. They're very comfortable to me. But I was having a tooth that was bothering me on the bottom, on the right, and it's a crown, and it was fairly new. And I felt like it was coming off. If I chewed a piece of gum, it kind of had that feeling like it was going to lift off. It wasn't loose, it wasn't hurting. So I went to my dentist, and she said, the same one that did the crown, and she said, you are harming this tooth because you're just clenching down so tight on your, with your jaw, that it's hurting these teeth, this tooth. On this side, I have 2 implants on the bottom. And so it's basically a screw that's put into the jawbone, and then the bone heals around the screw, and then they mount a tooth on it. And so I have 2 of them like that. Now, if those get disturbed too much, you can cause damage to them, and I don't know what you would do at that point. It would become loose. I know people that don't have good enough hygiene around them, they become infected and then they come out, but mine are tight to this point. But I have this huge fear that it's going to break, crack, something, and it's gonna, well, I probably wouldn't have them redone. I would just go without them if they could be redone. So my dentist suggested that I go to a doctor and get something to help me sleep. So I've never met this doctor before, but it is my dentist doctor, and she came highly recommended. So she started me on a muscle relaxer. Yesterday was 2 weeks. It worked okay the first night, and then it stopped. It was like I wasn't taking anything. I don't remember what the name of it was. So I called her because she said, call me if that's not working and I will prescribe something else. So she was thinking, because, you use muscles to clench, if we could relax the muscles, then that would go away. So I called her back on Friday, and she said, well, just take 2. Just don't take 1 and see how that works. So the first night I took it, it helped. The second night it didn't. And I called her back yesterday and left a message. She called me back, and whoever does her phone calls for her called me back and said, we need to see you again to evaluate what to prescribe now. And I was like, hold on, because the insurance I'm on now, it's like you pay your deductible before it makes a difference. My other one was like co-pays. So I said, I already paid $105, $115. The last time I was in, they did blood work and everything. Now, they didn't do like cholesterol panel, but they did like, your all your organ functions and blood sugar and all that. Everything came back in the green. Everything was good. And so they wanted me to come back in, and I said, no, I'm not happy with coming back in, because this is what she told me. She said, go a few days and then we'll try something else. If it doesn't work, call me. And then when I called back the second time, or not call back the second time, when I called back last week, and they said, take 2 and give it at least, 2 weeks from start to finish. So yesterday was 2 weeks. I hope I'm making sense. So she called in another prescription for me, and it is called amitriptyline, and it's 10 milligrams. So it's a low dose. I looked it up, and I think any medication that you look up is going to be terrifying, right? Because the side effects, that list is longer than the whatever they're giving it to you for. So it's an antidepressant, anti-anxiety. The side effect is sleepiness. I mean, I suppose I am anxious, but that's such an overused word. Everybody's got anxiety now, which, yes, we all do have anxiety to a certain point. But the things I'm anxious about are not a big deal. But as soon as the sun goes down and I'm laying in bed, they become huge, to the point where I'm like, my whole body is tense and I can't remember which muscles to release. I try to tighten up as tight as I can and then release. And sometimes it releases, and then the next thing I know, I'm like this again. I'm completely frustrated. But the worst thing about this medication that I probably didn't pronounce correctly is that you can go through withdrawal if you go off of it without weaning yourself off of it. So I have no idea if 10 milligrams is even enough to have to go. When you want to not take it, are you going to have withdrawal? Because I know from what I saw in videos that 300 milligrams is the maximum amount, but usually they stop at 150. And a lot of people start out at 25 milligrams. So that's all I'm hoping, is that only 10 milligrams is going to be so insignificant that it's not going to have a withdrawal effect if it doesn't work. Because if it doesn't work and I quit using it and I feel bad, what's the point? And I'm not even sure what the withdrawal symptoms are. Anyway, I'm going to get gas and I'm going to go to Walmart and pick my prescription up. And I guess I'll know tomorrow morning if I feel like it worked. So I'll get back to you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.